So one more time. You've got a two-way frequency table with cake or pie preference and left versus right-handed. You're going to summarize what each of these percentages mean in context with your partner in your math notebook right now. Let's go.
All right, so
Who can tell me what the 10% comes from? Ellie.
out of all the people that prefer cake, 10% are left-handed.
So of cake people, 10% are left-handed. Okay, and we know that because the total came from the column. So it's only referencing left-handers. All right, second one. Where does that 67% come from, Grant?
67 are people who are right-handed or black.
So what we're going to say actually here is of right-handers. Because that's our total, right? All the right-handers.
67 for pie.
Of the right-handers, yep, 67% prefer pie. Okay, number 3. Owen, did you want to share for number 3?
Number 3 is 30% from 9 over 30. It's like 30% of the 30% of the okay, the 30% of the total people are right-handed and prefer cake.
Okay. I'm going to write RH and PC. Right-handed prefer cake. Yeah. So again, to get our relative frequencies, our totals change depending on what group we're talking about. We're either talking about everybody, we're either talking about what handed somebody is for a total, or what preference they have for a total. Let's see if we can do this without a bunch of side conversation. Raise your hand if you're left-handed. We had none in first hour. Okay. Beware, you're going to want to say something, a couple of you. Raise your hand if you prefer cake. Raise your hand if you prefer pie. Interesting. Different hours have different things. That's cool to see. All right. We're going to move on with our association. So what we're going to think about today is, what does it mean for two variables to be associated? Does one determine the other? So do you guys think, looking back, would you imagine there was a correlation between whether you like pie or cake and whether you're right or left-handed?
No.
I wouldn't. Maybe numbers would portray it depending on population, but I wouldn't think someone right-handed innately would prefer something over the other with that, okay? Now, so let's look at these two examples. There's the color of a car's seats. Would the color of a car's seats determine how reliable it is?
no.
If two of the same cars, one has black seats, one has gray seats,
No.
Depends on
would
what
it change
they're
how
made
reliable it is?
No.
Depends on what they're made out of.
But the car, like to get...
No.
So what about this? What about, would the color of a car seats determine whether you get burnt sitting in your car?
Yes.
Yes. Anybody ever sit on some black leather seats in the summer?
Oh my god.
Woo! So here's an association that everybody can wrap their head around. When it's warmer, people buy more ice cream. Okay? So that would be an association between temperature and ice cream sales. That makes sense. Okay? Okay, here's one that wouldn't make sense maybe. When it's warmer, in Michigan, the price of hot tea in Taiwan goes down. That's just like no association, probably. Okay, I guess we'd have to look at the data. I don't know macroeconomics to know whether that would be true or not. But so here's what you're going to look at first. You're going to look at this two-way table, and we're going to be looking at coral health. I don't know if you noticed, there's some coral issues out in the ocean, and this one's looking at coral health and nitrate concentrations. And what you're going to work on is finding whether there is a correlation between nitrate concentration and the health of coral. Now, so I don't have to flip back and forth between two screens. Let's look at the question first. You are going to complete a two-way relative frequency table for the data. Note, it wants it based on the column. So again, two-way relative frequency, which means you're finding a what? Percentage based on the column. So I'm going to go back to this, though, because this is the raw data you need. So with this raw data, you're going to create a two-way frequency table, relative frequency table, using columns with your partner. Let's get after it. So let's work on getting these percentages. So if we're going by column, I've got 20 over 28, and I've got 8 out of 28. I've got 5 out of 27, and 22 out of 27. We all good? These are our proportions, Bob. So I'm going to do my division. If I got 71% here, guess what percent I have to have down here?
29.
And I got 5 out of 27. And if I got 19% here, guess what I have to have here? 81%. Okay. So the question, it's on the next slide, but I'm going to ask it so we don't have to switch back and forth so we can look at the data. Is when there is low nitrate concentration, does it look like there is a correlation between our variables? Does it look like
Yeah.
which had a higher level?
Healthy one.
Yeah, so low nitrate, healthy coral. What about high nitrate?
Unhealthy.
Okay, so does that look like there's a possible association?
Yes.
It looks like it, right? Nitrate levels look like they determine relative health of coral, okay? Now, we're going to look at another component that can be found in the ocean to see if this determines whether it is healthy or not. Right here. We're going to look at silicon dioxide concentrations now. So I'm not giving you the raw data. This time I'm giving you the relative frequencies. All right? With your partner, please answer D. Oh, wait. These questions are for the next one. So I just want you to look at this and we're going to say, is there correlation? We're just doing E. We already did D. So with your partner, be ready to justify. All right. Let's take a vote. Who thinks there is an association? Who thinks no association? Hadley, what did I hear you say is true about all these percentages? Yeah, silicon dioxide is like hyper abundant on Earth, and just so you know, like quartz, it's in a bunch of sand. It's it's an anti-caking agent. It's like naturally all over. So that's the science behind why there's not a change. It's hyper abundant on Earth. All right. Okay, next up, Jada surveyed 300 people from age groups, and she's making a claim. She's saying there is association between the age someone is and the type of shoe they prefer. I want you to support or deny Jada's claim by looking at your data to see if there is an association or not. Again, let's take a vote. Who thinks there is a possible association between age and shoes? So, so what I'm actually going to do to save time is not find actual percentages. We'll just estimate some percentages. So let's start with the 4. I would look at rows for this by age group, right? So it looks like 4 to 10 prefer what type of shoe?
Sneakers without laces.
Yeah, like almost 2/3 of them, right? My little kids tie the shoes, but it's still more. Okay, let's look at the least cool group of kids. I jug it. So 48 like sneaks with laces.
Your shoes don't have laces?
Correct. That's why this is the least cool group. So, what percentage roughly of this group?
I'd say
Sneakers
Close to 50%, right? Close. About half. That's pretty big. And then for these old folks, most of them are not sneakers, and that's close to half as well. So it looks like depending on your age, there is an association depending on what shoes you prefer. Our next table we're going to look at for possible association is what hand you write with and what you prefer, pen or pencil. So with your partner, determine, do you think that there is an association between variables? So raise your hand if you believe there is an association. Raise your hand if you think there is not an association.
We need more data.
What about this? Could we say there's an association for right-handers but not left-handers?
yeah.
I think you could. Well, you wouldn't need more. Why do you think there's fewer left-handers asked the question?
because
There's less lefties. Now, so right-handed, definitely an association. They prefer pen at a very high rate. Left-handers are almost split. Now thinking about why left-handers might be split. Okay. Thinking about why left-handers might be split. Why are they more split? Why do they like pen less compared to right-handers? Do you think? I think there's a practical reason.
Because there's also.
Well, if you write left-handed and you write with a pen, it goes along your hand as you go across the paper. That's the reason I think.
I'm a left-handed.
What we're going to look at next is this. This is all the stuff we did. You, with your partner, are going to come up with some theoretical two-way frequency tables of two variables that should be associated, okay, and two that should not. While you're making your theoretical table, you're going to use a total of 100 values. Why would that be a good total to use if we're just going to quick throw down some percentage is just done, right? So, again, two variables that would have association or would be associated and two that wouldn't. You and your partner are going to come up with some situations and some theoretical tables to prove that. I don't need like all your data. We can tell kind of by your variables. So we're going to start with variables that you claim would be associated. Elliot.
People who play sports and wear sneakers or no sneakers.
Oh, so if you play sports and what type of shoe you wear?
Yeah.
I just went more general, but I got what you're saying. Yeah, those probably would be associated. Hadley.
Gender and people who think we need recess versus people who think we don't just have to go.
Gender and whether we need recess or not, you think. Okay. Micah.
Whether it's snowing or not, and how many people buy hot chocolate.
Okay. That's kind of the ice cream one, but I'll take it. Willa.
If you use headphones or AirPods and if you have an Apple device or not.
Oh, so what kind of phone or device you have and what type of headphones you use. I could be wrong. AirPods do work with Android, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just Bluetooth?
Yeah.
Okay. But it seems weird to buy those if... Okay. Okay, now we're going to move on to unassociated. No association. Ellie.
Like people in space and fish in a pond.
How many people are in space and how many fish are in a pond? Unless the whole world went to junk and ponds were like so bad that we all had to flee Earth. But in general, right now, I agree. Emmett.
I would say people who breathe and people who got sent to the SIC.
No association from people. Okay. Grant.
If you follow Bill Nye on Instagram.
Okay, what's that, Grant?
If you follow Bill Nye on Instagram and you drink coffee for breakfast.
If you follow Bill Nye on Instagram and if you drink coffee for breakfast. That'd be interesting because you would think if you're drinking coffee for breakfast, you're generally older. But if you're generally older, you're probably less likely to be on Instagram. That'd be some interesting data to look at. Okay, one more, Finn.
Yeah.
If you have a dog and if you wear a hat.
If dog people are more or less likely to wear hats? I don't know. One's if you have a dog, you're more likely to walk your dog outside. Maybe. Maybe it just wouldn't be a strong association. We could have weak associations versus strong. Let's do one more. John.
Baseball scores in North Korea and the temperature in Oregon.
Baseball scores in North Korea and the temperature in Oregon probably do not have an association, except we talked about Pacific Ocean maybe somehow. But all right, you are going to conclude with your lesson summary at your assigned seats.